The Negro is still languished in the corners of American society and finds himself in exile in his own land. And so we've come here today to dramatize the shameful condition. In a sense, we've come to our nation's capital to cash a check. When the architects of our republic wrote the magnificent words of the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence, they were signing a promissory note to which every American was to fall heir. This note was a promise that all men, yes, black men as well as white men, would be guaranteed the unalienable rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. It is obvious today that America has defaulted on this promissory note insofar as her citizens of color are concerned. Instead of honoring this sacred obligation, America has given the Negro people a bad check, a check which has come back marked insufficient funds. But we refuse to believe that the Bank of Justice is bankrupt. We refuse to believe that there are insufficient funds in the great vaults of opportunity of this nation. So we've come to cash this check, a check that will give us upon demand the riches of freedom and the security of justice.
Hello everybody, welcome back. It's good to see another day. I hope everyone is in good spirits and in good health. I just wanted to share a few things with you guys right now. First and foremost, when I started to get into this, it was because I shared some things with you guys that I had learned over the years earlier this year, because I didn't want to see anybody do anything that was hazardous to their health. Okay, so that sparked a firestorm of activity where, people started doing research and wanted to understand who I was and what all this was about. So I took the advantage to allow my story to be told and unfold and develop, and needless to say, here we are. But then it switched to my personal efforts as far as my appreciation for music and things like that. But the thing with that is this. If I thought that I could go to the pioneers and the elders and tell my story as a respectable individual, I would have done that. But from what I know and understand about life and the way I feel about things, there's just certain things that you don't do. So that is what is categorized with my dues. If and when they choose that I'm worthy, I will have proven myself. So until I'm able to do that, I decided I was going to split the difference and, just share a few jewels here and there. But when I started, I felt like I was participating in a systematic wine fest, if you will. I don't need to remember what happened. I don't need to understand why people are angry and all this other good stuff. I'm one of the people and I'm mad. So I get it, So there's no reason to keep remembering and keep getting all flared up for something is going to happen again tomorrow and the day after that. So that's when I had to realize that I was always a person who observed. And that's another reason how I got to know and understand what we're talking about. So I had to go back and I had to observe. And while I was observing, I noticed a theme to the systematic whining. And I realized if I didn't want to sound like a whiner or a complainer or someone who has nothing to offer, that's where I came to appreciate the parables and the stories that have come to be told throughout history, not just the biblical parables and stories. There are various stories throughout history that are trying to meet you in the middle, so you don't have to listen to constant nagging and complaining and just constantly beating you upside the head. So that's what the best speakers do. So in the attempt to try to be a better speaker, that's what I'm going to try to do. So as far as the March on Washington, it's kind of cryptic, but personally, I honestly feel the words that he chose to use during that first few minutes, I honestly, personally believe that is the reason why Dr. King is no longer in the land of the living. And here's my reasons why. Before I came across the information that allowed me to maintain my freedom, I was told about a certain book known as the Redemption Manual. And the Redemption Manual wasn't able to serve the function that it was presented to me for. It was supposed to help me maintain my freedom. It wasn't able to do that for me, for whatever reason, but it did talk about a lot of money. It talked about a lot of money and how the people are related to that money and how the people, the money, and the government are all tied together. So even though I wasn't able to achieve, my desired goal, I came to know and understand a few things about this system that I'm like, wow, how come nobody knows this stuff? Not even the people in the courthouse know some of this stuff, and that's crazy because, it talks about how, each individual has the power to defend and protect themselves from this very government that we're talking about. And long story short, just explaining how the government is, leeching off of every last one of us. So, here we are again. That's what I'm inclined to discuss right now. And the currency thing, the coin shortage, and I'm hearing people talk about reparations and equal rights and so on and so forth. It's all connected and related to the very topic of money. Charges are called charges for a reason, because we're talking about this money that you're costing us, based on whatever we feel you did wrong. And so the story goes. Now we're talking about these voting rights. Everyone who is, a natural born citizen or a person who has, achieved a certain citizenship status or whatever has, a certain amount of rights that come with it. And one of them is the right to vote. So many things to be said, so many things to discuss. So the Redemption Manual has me talking right now because it explains how taxes were never a part of the original formula, and it became a part of a package deal that allowed them to navigate the first original recession in 1933. And then, there are people who know about House Joint Resolution 133 or something like that. I forgot what number it was, but again, it all was related to money. The people were involved because the people were the ones who were supposed to satisfy the national debt at the time. And that's why the people were going to start being taxed. So, okay, we know people are, going to jail on a daily basis for not paying that tax, and we know how people, react when it comes tax season, because, we know we're going and we're paying those dues, and, when we get our checks, that money's gone, so of course we're going to try and get it back. So we know that the system is functioning, the way it's supposed to on that level, but yet this debt keeps growing. And we keep getting taxed more and more, and so okay, we know we're paying our taxes, and we're playing our part. Where's all this money going? That's where all the bullets and stuff are coming from, because they need us to hand crank their machine. When we go to work and we follow their laws and we pay our dues, so to speak. We're cranking their machine so they can, abuse the power that we generate for them. And that's what has me speaking right now, because the change shortage, really, really blew my mind. I don't see why, if it's really a change shortage, all you gotta do is go to any national monument and drain the fountains and stuff like that. There's got to be so much money in the bottom of these wishing wells and stuff like that. There's no such thing as a coin shortage. But that's another story. So then we got the Social Security program. That's also a birth child of that same package there. There had to be a trade-off for the people, committing to this national debt and clearing this debt in the name of this, government in this country that is supposed to protect them in return for all of this. Not to mention they never had the power to do it to begin with. That was all illegal. But I would encourage you to read the manual for yourself. I just wanted to share that with you guys this afternoon. That's what was on my mind. I think I'm gonna do a little bit more observing. I'm gonna still keep honing my skills. I do have things in the works, and it is what it is. It's just another day. So, God willing, until next time, and protect yourself. God's love.
At this time, I have the honor to present to you the moral leader of our nation. I have the pleasure to present to you Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr.
I am happy to join with you today in what will go down in history as the greatest demonstration for freedom in the history of our nation. 50 years ago, a great American in whose symbolic shadow we stand today signed the Emancipation Proclamation. This momentous decree came as a great beacon light of hope to millions of Negro slaves who had been seared in the flames of withering injustice. It came as a joyous daybreak to end the long night of their captivity. But 100 years later, the Negro still is not free. 100 years later, the Negro lives on a lonely island of poverty in the midst of a vast ocean of material prosperity. 100 years later,